Strategic thinking, how to take control of your life. Intro, why most people lose without knowing it. Most people don't lose because they're weak. They lose because they react instead of thinking. They rush decisions, they follow emotions, they let pressure decide for them. And slowly, without realizing it, life starts controlling them instead of the opposite. But there is another way to live, a quieter way, a smarter way. It's called strategic thinking. And once you understand it, nothing looks the same again. 1. Reaction is the enemy. Reaction feels natural. Someone disrespects you, you react. A problem appears, you panic. An opportunity shows up, you rush. But reaction is dangerous because it is emotional. And emotional decisions feel right in the moment, then cost you later. Strategic thinkers pause. That pause, even a few seconds, creates distance between stimulus and response. In that distance, you regain control. They don't ask, what do I feel like doing right now? They ask, what move serves my future self? That single shift separates chaos from clarity. 2. Strategic thinking is not manipulation. Strategic thinking is often misunderstood. It's not manipulation. It's not cold-hearted. It's not about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself. It means acting with intention, choosing battles wisely, thinking in outcomes, not impulses, playing the long game. It applies everywhere, in relationships, in business, with money, in conflict, in personal growth. Strategy gives you options. Reaction traps you in emotion. 3. Clarity comes before strategy. You cannot be strategic if you don't know what you want. Most people say, I want success, I want freedom, I want more money. That's not clarity, that's vagueness. Strategic thinkers define outcomes clearly. What kind of life do I want? What does success look like for me? What am I optimizing for? Money, time, peace, impact. Once the destination is clear, decisions become easier. You stop chasing everything and start aligning everything. Clarity turns noise into direction. 4. Thinking backwards, the strategic method. Most people think forward and hope. Strategic thinkers reverse engineer. They start with the end, the lifestyle, the skill level, the financial state. Then they work backward. What must be true 1 year before that? What must I build this month? What must I do today? Big goals stop being overwhelming when they become systems and steps. Hope is replaced by execution. 5. Information. Too little is dangerous. Too much is paralysis. Acting without information is gambling, but overthinking is another form of fear. Strategic thinkers balance both. They seek relevant information, timely data, real signals, not noise. Then they decide. They don't wait for perfect certainty. They move with calculated confidence. Information only becomes power when it leads to action. 6. The big picture, seeing the whole board. Most people focus on the next move. Strategic thinkers see systems instead of isolated problems, patterns instead of events, long-term consequences instead of short-term wins. They ask, who benefits from this? Who has influence? What happens after this move? Seeing the big picture protects you from tunnel vision and emotional traps. 7. Anticipation, staying ahead of problems. Strategic thinkers don't wait for problems, they anticipate them. They ask, what's likely to happen next? What could go wrong? What's my backup plan? They think in scenarios, best case, worst case, most likely case. Preparation kills fear. When you're prepared, uncertainty loses its power. They also anticipate people, motivations, emotional triggers, behavior patterns. Understanding people is a strategic advantage. 8. Timing, knowing when to move. Not every correct move is correct now. Timing is strategy. Move too early, you waste energy.
Move too late, you miss opportunity. Strategic thinkers observe patiently, prepare quietly, strike decisively. They don't confuse patience with hesitation or speed with intelligence. They move when the moment aligns with the plan. 9. Leverage, winning with less effort. Hard work alone is not strategy. Leverage is. Strategic thinkers look for skills that compound, systems that scale, tools that automate, relationships that multiply results. They focus on the few actions that create most of the impact. This is not laziness, this is efficiency. Leverage turns effort into momentum. 10. Adaptability, flexible methods, fixed vision. Life will change the rules. Markets shift, people change, plans break. Strategic thinkers don't panic, they adapt. They stay flexible in how, but firm in why. Setbacks become feedback, failure becomes data. Adaptability is not weakness, it's survival at a higher level. 11. Influence, power without force. Real power is not control, it's influence. Strategic thinkers understand that people are emotional. Logic follows feelings. Trust beats pressure. They influence by listening, framing ideas, creating value, speaking with clarity. They play long-term trust games, not short-term ego battles. Influence done ethically lasts longer than force. 12. Execution, where thinking becomes real. Execution means turning goals into habits, habits into systems, systems into results. Consistency beats motivation. Systems beat discipline. Every action gives feedback. Every result sharpens the strategy. This is how thinkers become winners. Final message: becoming a strategic human. Strategic thinking is not a trick, it's an identity. You stop reacting, you start choosing. You stop being controlled by circumstances and start designing outcomes. You don't rush, you don't freeze, you move with intention. Because once you master how you think, life stops being random and starts making sense.
Extended final summary. Deep closing script. Strategic thinking is not about being smarter than others. It's about being calmer, clearer, and more deliberate. Most people live their lives in reaction mode. They react to money problems. They react to relationship issues. They react to pressure, fear, and expectations. And when you live reacting, you are always late. Late to opportunities, late to clarity, late to growth. Strategic thinking pulls you out of that trap. It teaches you to slow down mentally, even when life is moving fast. It teaches you that not every problem deserves your energy, and not every opportunity deserves your time. Sometimes the most strategic move is doing nothing, watching, learning, and waiting. A strategic life is built on intentional choices. You stop asking what feels good right now, and you start asking, what will I thank myself for later? This single question changes everything. It changes how you spend your time. It changes who you listen to. It changes which paths you ignore and which ones you commit to fully. Strategic thinkers understand something most people miss. Life is not about intensity. It's about direction. You can work hard every day and still go nowhere if your direction is wrong. But when your direction is clear, even small actions compound into massive results. That's why clarity always comes first, before hustle, before motivation, before action. Without clarity, effort is wasted. With clarity, effort multiplies. Another key truth is this: emotions are temporary, consequences are permanent. Strategic thinking helps you separate the two. It teaches you to feel emotions without letting them drive decisions. You still feel anger, you still feel fear, you still feel excitement, but you don't obey them blindly. You observe them, you understand them, then you decide. That is emotional maturity. That is strategic power. A strategic person also understands leverage deeply. They know that one skill mastered beats 10 skills half learned. One strong system beats endless motivation. One powerful relationship can change a decade. They don't chase everything. They select carefully. They build things once that pay them back repeatedly. Skills, habits, systems, reputation. This is how effort becomes freedom. And when things don't go as planned, because they won't, the strategic mind does not collapse. It adapts. It asks, what is this teaching me? How do I adjust without losing my vision? Strategic thinkers bend, but they don't break. They change methods, not identity. They stay committed to the destination even when the road changes. In the end, strategic thinking is about self-leadership. Before you lead a business, before you lead a family, before you lead others, you must lead your own mind, your thoughts, your reactions, your choices. Because once you master that, external chaos loses its control over you. Final closing message. You don't need to move faster. You need to think better. You don't need more pressure. You need more clarity. You don't need to control life. You need to understand it. Strategic thinking is the skill that turns confusion into direction, pressure into focus, and uncertainty into advantage. And once you start living this way, you don't just survive life,